It's our defending champion Terry Little against Kevin Clark in this opening game, week 1 of men's 5-pin play, both with strikes up in 2.
Let's go.
Oh yeah. After missing the head pin in that first frame, now that's back-to-back strikes for our defending champion.
2 shots in exactly the same location in the lane. He's playing in between the second and third arrow from the right gutter. A little bit of angle and some rotation, but right hand pocket, he'll score very well here.
There as it is. That's 3 marks in a row, back-to-back strikes for Kevin Clark out of Regina, Saskatchewan. Now, you were talking about his approach to the line.
Well, he's really smooth and controlled. Low backswing, you can see second arrow, big angle into the pocket. I think Kevin's best shot is going to be that left-hand pocket because of the angle.
Now, where do you pick up on something like that? I mean, if you're teaching me, you're telling me to take it, maybe just slightly off center. Where does he pick up on being so far over the line?
Experience and a lot of bowling over the years, and he said he just moved this far outside left in about the last year or so, and he really felt comfortable out there. He didn't have to put anything extra on the ball. It was just playing that straight angle, and as long as he gets good lift on the ball, he's got a chance to break it, splits up.
Well, he's got 4 marks, 2 spares, 2 strikes, sits at 95 through 3.
It's a good shot. Look at the lift. He's got that ball out on the lane 10 to 12 feet.
Terry Little has something going here. He's got a couple of strikes up as he plays in 4. Interesting, we talk about all this experience. Before his championship of a year ago, he had only been on TV once, and that was in the Pins game back in the 03-04 season. And he made it to the semis that year. That was a tough break. Didn't get the left corner to go.
A little bit thick in the right-hand pocket. Terry doesn't play a lot of angle, so he's got to rely on the rotation and being really accurate, picking the right pocket to be in. He'll go cross lane at this, probably right over the center arrow. Little angle. Oh. He missed that one right off the bat.
And that's just a giveaway. That just completely snaps off the 2-strike count that he had now, and now he's just looking for his 15.
And we talked about those openings. He had an open in the first and now an open in the fourth. And with to give a player of Kevin Clark that kind of openings early in a match, boy, it may be tough to come back from this.
So you see the advantage, 14 pins through 3. Clark with the spare up in 4, and Terry with his second open.
Terry lots of times sets himself on the approach. Really nice, smooth 3-step delivery.
And then the punch. Funny, I talked to him prior to the game starting. I said, well, how well were you playing last year? And in his estimation, he didn't think he was throwing it very well when he won. That, when he watched himself on TV and his friends pointed out that he may have been not following through, he got away with a lot, he says.
Well, again, it's about the accuracy, and the follow-through sometimes helps create that rotation that'll break up splits and, bad pinfall. So obviously he was very accurate. Anytime you can average 295, you're playing very well.
Well, good job again by our defending champion. But that's back-to-back opens now. He's 111 through 5. Now, this is what we talked about Sandy Anderson was so good at in winning her championship. The opportunity Kevin Clark has seen now a couple of opens from Little. Can he jump on him with some kind of a mark?
Good lift again, right on the nose. Again, just missed the mark here at the arrows, and that's the result. He throws the ball so hard, mostly end over end roll. He's not getting much movement.
Kevin, who bowls out of the Bowlerama lanes and the Golden Mile Bowling Center in Regina, League average of .257. Just the one prior TV appearance, and that was in last year's Canadian Bowling Championship, and he lost in the preliminaries, lost at this stage. Bowled at .228 and won $250. But there again, now you see there's a difference. I mean, if you put where that open is and the 127, you put a strike in there, put a spare in there, you've got some pin count going. So we'll see if that hurts him ultimately.
Little awkward at the foul line there. Didn't have a great finish to that slide step, but got the ball in a perfect location. And right on the second arrow that time. Great reaction. Little now needs a strike to keep pace in this game. Oh yeah,
That's good.
dead solid in that right hand pocket.
And responding to the pressure.
Follow through is a little different. He comes across the side of his body just a little bit. Really nice, smooth, controlled approach.
Yeah, he sure seems to be planted when he releases.
Very solid.
Looking for back-to-back strikes here.
He got that wide left, and the ball started to make a move back to the head pin, but again, because of the amount of oil on the lanes, get a little bit of skid and not the same movement.
Remember in ladies play, we lost our defending champion very early in that opening week. Michelle Johnstone from Regina went out in the preliminaries. And a nice cover there for Terry as he picks up the spare. So he's got a couple of marks going.
Kevin Clark now 7th frame. Chance to double and increase his advantage in this match. Smooth the line. Oh,
good.
Big string pull there.
Good.
And that's a little bit of the difference we'll be seeing in between the men's and the ladies. Because of the men's speed, a lot of them throw the ball really hard. They're going to make these pins jump up high. That was the 3-pin off the side wall and a string pull on the corner.
Just the one open for Kevin Clark.
Big lift on that one that time. He got it thin, that left-hand pocket, and he's just converting everything.
So that's 3 now. He has back-to-back in 6, 7, and 8, and the pressure really on Terry Little with a strike spare combination. Needs, I think, desperately a strike here to give himself something.
8th and 9th frames. He really needs strikes in both of these to try and put some pressure back.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a start.
Great reaction. A little bit thick, but again, because of the angle and the rotation, he carries and breaks this up. Very consistent release at the foul line. Arm swing stays exactly the same on every shot.
Little, who works for Arvin Meritor. They're a manufacturer of truck brakes in Tilbury, Ontario, which is down in southwest Ontario between Chatham and Windsor.
Missed that one a little bit left, and he gets a big break. Second chop off in a row on that left-hand lane. He's made the spare. Little different angle to convert this chop off. He goes straight up the boards at the right 3-2. Relies a little bit on the ball breaking. Other than that missed corner pin in the 4th frame, Terry's been very accurate.
Kevin Clark now with 3 strikes up, and he has a potential of 352. Can really put a lock on this if he can strike here.
First strike in the 9th, he'll be on his way to shutting Terry Little out.
And there it is.
Crossed over that time. It was thick, but again, good speed, good rotation. Needs 8 pins in the next 3 balls to shut Terry Little out. Ouch. That looked like the opening frame. Way back in the first, Kevin punched that left 3-pin. Converted the spare.
Yeah, otherwise he's been terrific.
Any pin on the lane. 5-pin or the 3-pin. Kevin Clark will advance.
Oh, come on.
Well, that puts a little bit more pressure on him.
Yeah. Thankfully he's got one more chance at it here.
Well, he's just has to guard against going through the hole. Kevin having a good look at the scoreboard. Bowlers are great mathematicians.
But he's thinking about it. He's thinking about it.
Well, absolutely.
And, you know, considering where he starts on the lane, and that hole is on the left side.
Yeah, he's going to play this a little bit right. Guard against going through the hole. See, he changed the angle that time. He wasn't way left like he was on the first couple of shots.
Wow. Gee whiz. Kevin Clark smiling about it, and he'll bowl at 281. Made a little more difficult on himself in the 10th. And that's the problem for Terry Little. That's another head pin for him.
Yeah, he never really got on a roll. He threw some great shots. 4 strikes in that game. He had 1 double, but it seemed like he, strike, chop off. And then after the double, he had 2 open frames in a row, including a missed left corner pin.
So Kevin Clark, as his wife Jen looks on, has eliminated our defending champion Terry Little. Kevin Clark from Regina will move on. When we come back, it'll be Brad Glynn from Mount Pearl, Newfoundland, and Dale Lillemo from Anoka, Alberta. So nothing but marks for both bowlers. Through 3. Brad Glynn, first TV appearance, just recently out of the, within the last couple of years of the youth bowling. And wow, that's just...
that is power.
I mean, if you're a pin, you're shaking.
Great approach, and he's so solid at the foul line.
Look how
big
far out
lift.
he gets, huh?
Yeah, that's almost out to the arrows.
From Mount Pearl, which is part of the greater St. John's area of Newfoundland.
Brad running through the keys, what he's got to do to be successful. Wow. What a great reaction.
Brad is in his last year of primary education at Memorial University. He wants to be a primary teacher. He could be a good one if he's that animated with his students.
Great reaction again. Power player, breaks up a possible split.
Yeah, Lillemo.
Just pulled that one a little bit left. Just keep our eye on Dale's arm swing. One of the problems can be if you're trying to hook the ball, sometimes your arm swing goes in that kind of a direction and you have a tendency to pull the ball. That one he just forced back to the right. The ball didn't break at all.
Dale is a shop foreman for Pinoca Sheet Metal. And manages to get his 15 in the 5th. But that hurts. Again, we point out, it's all about the pin count. So you've got an open here for Lillemo. Look what Glynn's got. He's got back-to-back strikes working in 4 and 5. It's an untimely open for Lillemo.
Comes back and makes a good shot. A little bit thin, right-hand pocket. Leaves himself the left corner. Cross lane at this. Just inside the center arrow. Good conversion. Another one on the nose, and he's breaking it up.
Yeah, right on the beak. I mean, with any less power, that's just a punch.
He could have had anything on this one. From a head pin to a split to a chop off. Again, speed, rotation, breaks up a lot of that. Second right corner of the match for Brad Glynn. Both of them coming on the right-hand lane. And dead straight at it.
Well, we mentioned he's a graduate of the YBC program, and it's really where so many of the bowlers today get their grounding, get their starts. And there's a great website. It's youthbowling.ca, and this is the kind of things available to you if you want to find out about youth bowling in our country. Go to youthbowling.ca and see this great website.
Wow. Left-hand pocket that time, a little bit thin, but the ball, a little bit of movement back into the pocket. This is almost a sweeper. Gets it thin, head pin and 3-pin both taking out the right corner pin. Second miss in a row on that lane for Dale, and both of them he pulled to the left. Maybe just trying to force the ball a little bit. That's a better shot, right in the pocket.
Keeps a pin count going now. That's back-to-back spares for him. One of the things he points out is that he's got to keep his feet slow, and it's so typical. If you get a little bit anxious and you press, you want to quicken your pace,
and that throws your timing off completely. Changes your release point. It can change your loft on the ball, changes the reaction. So for Dale, slow is the key. 4-step approach.
Right.
Solid at the foul line.
And so the pace is perfect, and he gets his strike in 8. So keeps the pressure on. You can see, though, he's down by 38 through 6 to Brad Glynn, who has really had a wonderful game going.
Big 8th frame here for Brad Glynn. He can start to really make a move. Now that's the first miss in this game for Brad Glynn.
He's just been deadly, hasn't he? He's been around that head pin every time.
Well, he really has. He's made every spare. 2 right corners, chop off. He's got a guard against punching the head pin here on this second ball. Oops. Interesting. Well, now Dale Lillemo gets the advantage back a little bit.
Sure does. But you see, now it goes back to what you said. Where others will rely on the placement, he relies on so much the power of the shot. And there was the power wasn't placed well, so he didn't get the kind of action.
Well, exactly, because there's not much movement on the ball at that speed. It's not going to move very far.
Right, and now an open, and he is there. There's the pin count. It just stops dead, and suddenly Lillemo is right back in this.
All advantage. We got the possibility of a tie. If both players strike out, they'll end up with 315. And if we have a tie, it'll be a 2-frame roll-off. Oh, yeah. Much better shot. Left-hand pocket. Just no question. That 8th frame open could be the deciding factor in this match.
Dale Lillemo has to feel a little bit better about his situation. Little hop, skip, and that just jumps left.
Pulled that left again. 3rd time in the game. All 3 of them on that lane. Look out. He got that ball way further out on the lane than we've seen from the rest of these frames.
Better. And it's a curious thing, though, because there you are, you see the opportunity, and you might even start thinking ahead. You might think, my goodness, I'm right back in this. I have this opportunity for me to get right back in, and I'm not thinking about the 9th so much as I'm thinking about the end result.
Exactly. 2nd open frame, though.
Bad time.
Terrible timing.
Foundation frame.
Still got a chance. Put 2 more in. He's got 260. Even with 2 strikes, Brad Glynn can win this match with only counting 15 in the 10th.
Dale's partner, Rhonda, joining us here at Frank Silver Dollar. And frustrated too. Saw it potentially slip away here from Dale Lillemo. With a strike up in 9 at 237 for Lillemo.
So for Brad Glynn, the match is over. He's going to advance.
Yeah, he's already 240 on the board.
Now what he wants to make sure of is that he makes good shots. Get ready for the next game.
He'll advance to play Kevin Clark of Regina.
2nd miss to the right-hand side for Brad Glynn. That time better shot on the spare. He was on the inside. He's not going to be very happy with those couple of misses in the last 3 frames here, but 275, pretty solid game.
With his mom, Jody, his dad, John, his girlfriend, Karen Eaton, all here from Mount Pearl, Newfoundland. And so Brad Glynn advances, and he'll face Kevin Clark of Regina, Week 1 men's 5-pin play. Kevin Clark is from Regina. Brad Glynn is from Mount Pearl, Newfoundland. And they will decide who is going to be our first semifinalist in men's 5-pin play.
Kevin Clark to lead it off by virtue of his 281 score in the first match. Big angle. Ball didn't move at all, and again, he's not playing much for the ball to move because of the speed and the angle he's playing. Make a mistake at the arrows, though, and it's going to miss the head pin. Better lift, but drove the head pin straight back. Open frame to start for Kevin Clark.
Real focus.
Just running through the keys. You know what it is? He's really struggled on that right-hand side. First game he missed it 3 times, and now here misses it early.
You almost get the sense that he thinks he may be a little too quick, throwing it maybe a little too hard. You can see him just settle down, relax, take it easy.
Wow. And punches it straight back. One of the keys for him is his pace in the approach. And he's got a kid's song that goes on in his head to try and remind himself of that pace through the approach, because it has such a big effect on release point and loft on the ball. Wow, punch, punch.
So Glynn with a 13 to Clark's 15 to start.
Just inside the center arrow that time, but drove the head pin straight back. He was right on the nose. First head pin or split of any kind for Brad Glynn, and we've seen his speed and power basically overpower the pins and break up those splits.
There you see Clark, as so often happens in bowling, your opponent either stares at the floor. Just from the sound of the pins, he knows what's happening. He doesn't have to look.
You're playing your own game. You got to get focused. You don't want to watch the other bowlers' ball reaction or what happens out on the lanes. It's all about just playing your own game.
Not a great start for Brad Glynn. 2 opens, 25 through 2.
Wow. Really missed that one left. Kevin Clark shaking his head. Started the last game with that 3-pin punch as well. Again, because of that big angle he plays, if you miss your target at the arrows by even at one board, you get that kind of a result. Either player here off to a good start in this match.
Well, you can see it's a bit of a struggling start for both Kevin Clark of Regina, Brad Glynn from Mount Pearl, Newfoundland, as each of them look to become our first semifinalists. 5-pin play, 2 opens for Clark, and now he gets the chop off, and smiling about it, realizing that considering the way he pulled a 281, beating Terry Little of the defending champion in our opening game.
Well, and he got the ball back to the head pin. That's the first time he's hit it in this match, so I think he's happy about that. He didn't make a great shot, But he'll take the chop off and the spare.
Now here's Brad Glynn, who bowled a 275 in beating Dale Lillemo. But Glynn opened with a 13 and then a 12.
Punched the head pin on the last frame. Almost looks like he's trying to throw the ball too hard now. Pick it up in the replay here. See if his swing has changed any. Not really. It looks similar. It's just at the bottom of the swing. Almost a lunge at it to try and get extra speed. He throws the ball hard enough. He doesn't really need to get any extra on it.
So heading towards his third straight open here. Now you were part of his pre-shot routine. You know, the focus, settle down, and mentioned that he's in the final year of primary education and at Memorial University. And he does use that kid's song, the Yeti Stomp, as a bit of a give himself some rhythm.
Well, and that last shot he just made was exactly where he wants to throw the bowling ball, and it was coming back off the approach. It was, yes, that's the one I need to throw.
You can actually spell. Watch it. He mouths the words. He does. You can hear him. You can just see him mouth the song.
Second head pin for Brad Glynn, both coming on lane 33. Still talking to himself.
It's not uncommon, though, in other sports, too. I know in auto racing, for example, there are some drivers who get on a circuit and they will have a song in their head just to give them some rhythm through the corners. It's just they use the beat to do that. But look at this. I mean, by comparison to what he threw in his opening game, open, 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 open.
Well, the other thing, in the opening match, he was 8 for 11 on the head pin and got 5 strikes. And this time he's only 2 out of 4 and hasn't got a strike yet in the match.
Kevin Clark has this great opportunity here. He has the spare up in 3, has another chance for a spare. And this is the perfect time that the really good ones jump all over it. You know, your opponent is struggling a little bit. You got to make a mark here.
And here's the opening. Take advantage. Kevin Clark with 2 good shots. The first one leaving the right corner, and then the spare on the comeback.
So up by 18 through 3, and he has a spare up now in 4. Kevin is the purchasing manager for Janitor's Warehouse.
He's just a little bit left of his target, just in between the second and third arrow from the left gutter. Got the head pin thin. Second chop off of the match. And good cover. Kevin has been steady making spares. That's 3 in a row now.
All right, so have a look now at Brad Glynn as he tries to, for his first mark here in 5.
Better shot. Didn't look like that time he tried to overthrow it. A little bit thin, right-hand pocket. Ball skips around the corner pin, leaving him the right corner to shoot.
There's the difference. I mean, here's an open, then he has a head pin. And interestingly enough, the head pins come on that one lane on 2 and 4. But still looking for his first mark and an opportunity here, leaving the right corner.
5th frame, but crucial point in this match. He needs a spare to stay in it.
There it is for Brad Glynn.
Wow. Something about that lane. That's the 3rd head pin in a row. Still shaking his head. Just hasn't seemed to get on track this game, Vic. He looked loose and really throwing the ball great in the first match when he got that 275.
Brad plays out of the Holiday Lanes in St. John's, league average of 260. His whole family involved. His brother bowls, his dad's a provincial coach. Tried to squeeze the 3 over, and it's another open frame after that spare in 5. His dad John, his mom Jody, and a little encouragement now from his girlfriend Karen Eaton. She's also a bowler, been a bowler all her life too.
Great shot from Kevin Clark. A little shake of the head, wondering why that right corner pin stood up. But the experience of Kevin Clark may be the difference in this match. He's had openings. He's taken advantage of them. Second right corner spare of the match.
So you can see it's 111.75 through 5. And again, you know, it's nothing that's, it's not a dominating performance by Kevin. It's just enough. Brad's done nothing really so far.
Well, the difference is that Kevin's been breaking up split possibilities. And that's the first strike of the match, and the crowd giving Kevin a big hand. But he's made all his spares. Left pins, made the spares.
Absolutely. I mean, a mark is better than no mark. And when you look at Brad's scorecard, he only has the 1.
The difference is 3 head pins for Brad. And you don't get a chance to make those spares.
He needs now to get something going. Brad Glynn got it here. He
There it
does.
is.
That's good response from Brad in his first TV appearance.
Very smooth to the approach, and that time it didn't look like he tried to overthrow it. Right hand pocket, and the ball takes out the right corner pin.
Got another one? Yes.
Oh, thin left
Boy.
side and carries it. Big double for Brad Glynn.
Was that a case of just overpowering?
A little bit of the angle. He catches it thin, and the head pin sweeps the right side away.
So now pressure back on Clark. I mean, he's comfortably in front, as you see, through 6, and he has a strike up in 7, but knows now that maybe Glynn has found his range. And this will bring him back a little bit.
Well, what he wants to guard against is big, wide open frames. You know, head pins where you can't make a spare, throwing it through the gaps, those kinds of things. Stay in the wood.
That will hurt.
Well, he's opened the door now. Brad Glynn can get a double here coming back in 9 and 10 and get to within 3 in this match.
Okay, now it's an open frame for him, a 15 count in 8. Bad timing. We've just known and seen that over the years. You just like to mark out, especially when you come into that 9th frame. And look what now Brad Glynn has got going with strikes in 7 and 8. Clark. That's
Oh,
better.
yes.
That's better.
It did. Right-hand side that time, a little bit thick. Kevin Clark with a possible 271. The game's in his hands. He can win it all on his own, no matter what Brad Glynn does. Brad's only got 268 left if he finishes the 9th and 10th frames of strikes.
No.
Fourth headpin of this match for Brad Glynn.
Yeah.
And that's obviously been the difference in the match. Kevin Clark, when he's hit the middle and not got the strikes, has left him something that's spareable. Now trying to spare it. Knew he needed it.
Playing it out now, and he'll come out with the open here in a 158 through 9.
Now, even with 3 in a row, Brad with a possible 203. Kevin sitting at 196 with that strike. All he's got to do is keep the ball on the lane. Second right corner pin of the match. Just didn't seem to throw the ball the same way he did in the first game. Maybe it's that pressure. Kevin put it on him fairly early in this match. We'll keep our eye out. This young 23-year-old, I'm sure, will be back.
Yeah, big finish for him. It's a 188 for Brad Glynn, well below his league average, 260. But Kevin Clark will become our first semifinalist out of Regina. A year ago, losing in the preliminaries. And now this year becoming our first to the Final Four.
Nice freewheel on that shot. Smooth to the foul line.
And again, sorry.
I was just going to, great release.
And again, not a, you look at his potential as a 241. He averages 257. You'd look at the card and go, okay, well, there's what he has 1, 2 strikes, 3 strikes basically, but it was the spares. It was just enough. He looked at his opponent's opens, and that's what carried him through. As Kevin Clark bowls at 236.
Kevin Clark accurate, hit the middle 9 times that game, but made his spares when he had the opportunities. That's the difference in this match.
Regina's Kevin Clark is the first of our Final Four in men's 5-pin play.